what is real power? Power is often thought about in terms of the external world. So someone in a position of influence who manages a lot of employees, who can pay people to do what they want, who has a lot of celebrity, for instance, or is in the newspaper a lot, those people are considered to have power. Or people who work behind the scenes and can influence people with the public perception of power also are considered to have power. And none of that is what real power is. Yes, it can change the world in very particular ways, but that's not real power. If you really think about the people you know, and you may be one of them, who have this kind of power, how many are really happy? How many feel really secure in themselves and really confident? How many of them have really satisfying marriages? How many of them are really easy to speak with? How many of them are wise? Power comes from, and if you've seen any of my videos, you know what I'm going to say next. Power is internal. Power comes from the inside. Now, there have been many researchers to talk about what power is and is not. Hannah Arendt was the first I knew of, wrote in the 50s, to speak about the distinction between power and force. Yes, someone can come along with a gun and club someone on the head and they can be thought of to have power, but what they really have is force, because someone bigger can come with a bigger gun, or more people with lots of guns and come and take the gun away from that first person. So it becomes competitive. In that sense, power is comparative to what other people have and how you can wield it and get something over on another. That's not real power. That's force. Sometimes power is really aggression. So someone might be in negotiation with another and be really playing hardball, and the more powerful person, as it were, at the table is the one that's willing to play the hardest hardball. And when you look at things like drug wars, that the drug gangs have been upping and upping and upping the levels of violence they've been able to do. So there used to be a kind of code, we leave the women and children alone. So the first one to start murdering women, the partners of people in the gangs, they had power in that definition of it for a little while until someone else upped the game. It's a losing game. It's a losing game. When you've got real power, there's an internal stability, there's an internal alignment that is independent of what's happening outside of you. That comes from internal confidence, from knowing that you're deeply okay, from knowing that you can know what you want, from knowing yourself, from being emotionally mature, all sorts of things like that. It doesn't come from the outside at all. So let me have a think for a moment. If I were to summarize where power, personal power, comes from, it would be a combination of a few strands. It would be alignment with the core values that are hardwired into your body of being of service, of being kind, of being compassionate, of being strong, of being able to hold boundaries, and more along those lines. And it would also come from having the courage to face all your own inner demons, to look at your insecurities until they wither away and do whatever processes you need to do that they wither away, because all those insecurities are illusions on their own anyway. The courage to take appropriate risks. There's a lot of power in that when it comes from that place of not doing it to shore yourself up, like prop from the outside like a crutch. When it comes from wanting to expand, wanting to explore, wanting to see what the next great grandest version of yourself is going to be. That's powerful.